Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the show. This is Reservations, and I'm Rain Whalen.
And I'm the Nutty Professor.
I'm assuming the Jerry Lewis version.
Ew, gross. Hate Jerry Lewis. No, actually, it came about because Haley and I were like flipping through TikTok or something together, and there was a scene from the Eddie Murphy Nutty Professor. For some reason, Haley really likes like certain Eddie Murphy comedies. Mainly, this is a true story. One of Haley's favorite movies, and I'm not joking, is Norbit.
Oh no! Oh
Right?
my god!
Yeah,
I was like, please don't say
she
Norbit.
thinks it's so funny, right? I mean, there are funny moments. I don't love it as much as she does, but whatever. But it was the scene of the Nutty Professor, and she was like, "Oh, that should be one of your names." I was like, "I'll write it down."
Dude, I haven't seen that fucking movie in forever. And for good reason. Either of those movies, The Nutty Professor or Norbit, dude. The only part of Norbit that truly makes me giggle is Eddie Griffin giving condom advice at the church. And he's like, rib for her pleasure, turn them inside out, and it's ribbed for your pleasure.
Dude, him and Cat Williams are hilarious in that movie, dude.
Dude, I think they're the only reason, besides Eddie Murphy playing an overweight woman, I think they're the only reason why people remember that movie.
Listen, man, they make up a lot of what I like about it. Whatever. It's fine.
Never thought that we would be talking about Norbit on the show. Especially because, like, at work today, someone brought up Happy Gilmore 2, and I was just like, I don't know. They're like, Rain, you should watch it. It's really good. It's like everything I've heard, it's just like the same jokes from the first movie repackaged. And I'm just like, the Sandman's better than that. Like what are we talking about here? This sounds essentially just like Anchorman 2.
The way I like Anchorman 2, the way it was described to me was it's just set up for a cameo, right? Because none of the cameos, that's all they are, right? So they're not like, from my understanding, I have not seen the second one. I really don't want to. I don't have any sort of desire to see the second Happy Gilmore. I love the first one. Okay,
of course. How could you not?
Right? It holds a very unique place in my life. Here's a funny, sad story, right?
Okay.
Picture this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm 12 years old. Okay. We go rent movies. Okay. My mom, dad, and I, we go rent movies. We do this most Fridays, right? So it's a Friday, we're renting movies. I rent Happy Gilmore and Drumline. Okay. Perfect combination. Okay. So
why Drumline?
I love Drumline. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
I mean,
guilty pleasure for sure, but I think it's great. So, and of course, both of these I had seen several times, but I rented them again, right? And I'm halfway through Happy Gilmore, and my parents call me in the living room, and that's when they tell me they're getting a divorce. I swear to God. Then, well, here's the crazy part. Okay, so then I go back to my room, I finish Happy Gilmore, and I'm very upset, right? And I'm trying to cheer myself up. So I'm like, okay, so I put in Drumline, and I had never noticed before, but Nick Cannon's parents aren't together in Drumline. I'm like, no. Oh man.
What would have made that even funnier is if you said that your parents told you that they were getting a divorce right when like it was a really funny moment in Happy Gilmore, like maybe the whole like, "Are you too good enough for your home? Answer me!"
I
And you're
couldn't tell
just
you
like,
what part I was on. I was either halfway or a little over halfway. I was almost done. But I had seen it before,
"That's
so it wasn't my first experience with it. Thank God.
God." Could you imagine?
But I
You're
still
like,
associate those movies with that day. Um, yeah, tough day. Tough night, tough evening.
and I've told everyone at work, our running joke that your mom doesn't like that now I'm in on, of I was the
That
reason
it's
why
your
your
fault.
parents got a divorce.
Yeah,
I said that, and one of my coworkers was like, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "No, of course not." But it's funny,
don't be an idiot. But yes,
and
it's very funny.
it's very funny. His mom doesn't like it.
No,
It makes us laugh. I was like, and she's pretty much my mom too,
the
so it's okay.
fact that I just said, "Do you want to hear a funny sad story?" She's like, "No." Like he does not like that I joke about the divorce at all.
She just turned off the episode.
Yeah, she doesn't
She was
listen to
like,
this show.
"Nope, not listening to this one now."
She doesn't listen to this show.
Your mom doesn't listen to the show?
No,
My mom is behind schedule. She's been she claims she's so busy at work she can't even listen to the show. Yeah, I'm like,
neither of my
that's a
parents
likely
listen.
story.
Yeah, no, they don't listen unless like I
I
talk about a movie that they really like or they really want to hear about. Then they'll maybe give it. I don't know if Dad's ever. Maybe he has. Um, I'll just have to tell him one day that we'll do the long kiss goodnight, and then maybe he'll
I could foresee your
consider it.
dad yelling at his phone because we didn't bring something up. Like,
Well,
talk about this. Why aren't you talking about
I've
this?
never seen it, and I never will because he wants me to see it so bad. It's for over a decade. Um, maybe only. I mean, it's been a really long time, maybe 15 years or whatever. He's been like, "Hey, you should watch the." It's just a running joke that we have. He tells me to watch it. I say I'm not going to, and then he,
Well,
I'm sure
in
it's great.
this goes back to the thing I've told you about your mother-in-law. Watch it and then gaslight
I
him
know. Yeah,
because your mother-in-law wants you to watch The
the
Fifth
Fifth
Element,
Element. Yeah,
and it's yeah, watch it, quote it around her, and then pull Michael Keaton from The Other Guys. Man, I don't know what you're talking about. I say that all the time.
I did tell Dad once that I almost bought a VHS copy of The Longest Goodnight, and I don't have a VCR. And so I'm like, "Oh, Dad, I have it, but oh, gosh, I just don't have a VCR." And he said that he would have bought me a VCR, like for
I
Christmas
mean,
later.
there's places that still sell
I
them, man.
know.
That's
He
crazy.
said that he would have done it just so I wouldn't have an excuse anymore. So,
Well,
right.
with that being said, welcome back to the show, everyone. Uh, Not a super long intro, but if we kept going with this bit, it would have never
I
stopped.
know.
Um, so welcome back. If you tuned in last week, which you didn't, I was really disappointed.
I am so disappointed.
I feel like we had a really good conversation about I Saw the TV Glow.
Yeah.
My copy came in the next day,
Amazing.
so now it's on the bookshelf.
Amazing.
And I was really, oh man, I was like, man, this episode's gonna pop off, dude. No. It did.
Mm-mm.
Maybe this one will though.
Maybe.
So since you didn't tune in last week, this week we are talking about the 2022 adaptation, specifically that of Guillermo Del Toro's version, Pinocchio. And I really like that people specify that it's Guillermo del Toro's
You have to.
Pinocchio, because it truly is. Yes, it has the elements of the Pinocchio story that but this is so uniquely Guillermo's version of the story, his take.
Right.
And so I'm glad that even Netflix is like, yeah, no, this is Guillermo del Toro's.
Well, and even just in 2022, 3 adaptations of Pinocchio came out. Right. So
Really?
there's one that's like a computer animated, super low budget, like nothing movie. Um,
Uh-huh.
it 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 seems like a straight to VHS movie, you know.
Okay.
And then it was the Disney one, and then it was Guillermo del Toro's, which obviously Guillermo del Toro's is by far you. It's
Yeah.
like next to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, the other two are barely movies. You know what I mean?
Well, and in the tease I gave for this last week, I did talk about how I watched 5 whole minutes of Zemeckis's version for Disney and turned it off, which sucks because as I've said on the show before, I love Zemeckis, and so I gave it a chance, and I was like, nope, no, no, turn it off. I think it has like a 2% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's bad, like it's so bad. And poor Luke Evans, man, and and Tom Hanks. Like Zemeckis got a lot of really good talent to be in the movie, and then he just squandered it, man.
Yeah,
But
tragic.
uh, but not Guillermo.
No.
Guillermo Guillermo got a lot of really good. It has a 27%. I'm sorry, I was
Oh.
looking it up because I needed to know if I was right. It's 27%, but it's the only one that the audience score and the tomato score are the exact same. Like they're both 27%.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the audience score, sorry, says just watch Disney's original Pinocchio instead.
Yeah, of course.
Um, yeah. Anyway, yeah. Compared to Guillermo, his version and his version is so unique. It's uniquely him, where he wanted to do stop motion, and so he literally got the best of the best to do the movie. He got. I was watching the behind the scenes documentary that Netflix put up about it, and he was saying that he got so many animators, and it really shows. And of course, I'm sure Guillermo del Toro comes calling. You're gonna say yes.
Of course. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a no brainer.
yeah. So before we continue, I guess I should do a little bit of our job and give a synopsis. Um, so hang on. Does it say a specific year in the film? I don't
It's the
think it did.
1930s
Yeah, because
because it's during Mussolini's fascist regime of Italy. So
yeah. So like Jeremy just said, this version of Pinocchio takes place in the 1930s during fascist rule, Mussolini's fascist rule of Italy. And there is a lot of the Pinocchio story that is the same, um, but new things that Guillermo added for the time, which that, of course, understanding that Geppetto really did have a son, that which I think adds more of an emotional element to the film. Um, the son unfortunately dies, and Geppetto, in a drunken stupor, creates Pinocchio when the and I'm glad there's a distinction because the Disney version it's the blue fairy, but this version he calls it the wood sprite. So I'm glad there's a little bit of a distinction. Uh, but a wood sprite animates Pinocchio to be a real boy, um, and just sort of his misadventures, especially during fascist ruled Italy, um, and getting mixed up with Christoph Waltz's uh, Carney character and Ron Perlman's sort of Gestapo character, um, and really focusing on the human element of the movie. Um, I mean, that's Pinocchio. I yada yada through a lot of that, but it's because I feel like because like I said, so much of the story is the same, and Guillermo keeps a lot of those elements the same because I'm sure he knows or knew, these elements we need to maintain, but we could change other things, like, the Pleasure Island from the Disney version.
Mhm.
Why the fuck was that in a kids movie?
Well, I know. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna disagree with you on
Oh,
something.
okay.
I would say
Okay.
that I would say some things are the same, um,
Okay.
and a lot is different, right? And I don't think that there's like I don't believe Del Toro is looking at the original Pinocchio story and being like, I don't like that, I don't like that, I don't like that. I think he has some sort of fascination with countries and populations under some sort of authoritarian leadership in some sort of distress. Like he um obviously he gravitates towards like the Spanish Civil War, for instance. We see in The Devil's
Mm-hmm.
Backbone and we see in Pan's Labyrinth. Um and here, he has put Pinocchio in this place and time and changing the story to fit that place and time, and kind of going a different direction where Pinocchio is not really learning moral, valuable lessons about obedience and about being subservient to those that are in charge of you, which is what the original is. Pinocchio in the originals is just like a bad kid that won't listen, but
Mm-hmm.
in this one, he is ironically showing people around him that they're the ones who are puppets. They're the ones that are being controlled by by in this case Mussolini and his authoritarianism. Not to say that Pinocchio's not learning lessons, but Pinocchio's
Oh yeah.
not growing as a character in the same way, right? Because in the original, Geppetto is like the perfect dad, right? And he
Yeah.
is he's always right and blah blah blah. Like Pinocchio should listen to him, all that bullshit. In this one, um, Geppetto has a lot to learn. Geppetto is flawed. Geppetto has a lot of growth that he needs to do as well. Um, and so does Sebastian J. Cricket in
Yeah.
this version. And he has to learn to set aside his selfish ways and to do something for the right reasons instead of just doing something for personal gain, which is he made that deal with the wood sprite, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I liked, well, I loved this version of the story because it's showing you, like, I think to your point, I don't think Del Toro liked the moral of the story is be obedient to authority. Like that's
Yeah.
that's not okay, right? Let's put it in a place where that's bad, right? Where that is seen as an outside perspective and as someone with hindsight, that's wrong. Like you should be able to question authority without fear of persecution and without fear of consequence, and um grow in that way instead of just saying yes, okay, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, no, that makes more sense. Yeah. Um uh yeah, because I really loved, like, when the movie was first finally like announced and the first sort of teaser came out. The thing I really loved it was, Ewan McGregor as Sebastian J. Cricket, which also I was sold from the jump. I was like, I don't care what this movie's like. I gotta see Ewan McGregor voice a little cricket. Um, but in that first teaser, he said, like, this is the story but maybe you don't. Um, And I think that kind of sums up what we were just saying, which is yes, like we know the story of Pinocchio, you know, a little wooden boy, when he lies his nose grows. Um but we don't know this version, because it's not going to be the typical version, um that we're used to, that Disney has done, um and Polly Shore has done. Um but yeah, you know, I of course I welcomed these changes because, you know, something in the Netflix behind the scenes that they mentioned is that Guillermo is always really good at finding the human story within, um, the places he creates and the characters that he puts in the story. You know, especially for a character who's not human. Um,
Mhm.
and I think that's something about it that I feel resonates a little bit more than the Disney version, which is the human element feels very, it feels more personal. It feels more emotional, um, and more realistic as well.
Yeah, I mean, in this iteration, besides the backdrop, which is the fascist Italy, we also have this tone of loss, grief, and death, which is crazy for a family film, right?
Yeah.
Because like Geppetto, his backstory that he's given in this, perfect, right? Um we have this motivation for him to even create Pinocchio in the first place, and we have all of this emotion behind these these decisions, right?
Hmm.
And having scenes with Geppetto and Carlo um are just heartbreaking because Carlo's gonna die, right? Um
Hmm.
but what I really liked was not only are we focusing a lot on Geppetto's grief, and that's why he's struggling to accept Pinocchio, and he sees Pinocchio as a burden and all of that, is Pinocchio's philosophy on what it is to be alive changes because
Hmm.
he can die, right? But not really, because with the wood sprite's sister, Death, um, she explains that yes, you were immortal, but when you die, you have to come see me, and it's going to be longer every time, right? And so this teaches Pinocchio to treat life as precious, right? Because yes, he is immortal technically, but there are people around him that aren't, and
Hmm.
there are experiences that are worth celebrating and that are worth um, hmm, enjoying. Um,
Yeah.
and you know, so so by the end, spoilers. Um, so by the end, he has this completely different outlook on what it is to be alive, because he's now realized that he needs to, I cannot find the words, um but he needs to be present in these moments with these people because they are not going to be around for very long. And
Hmm.
I like that addition to the story, that and of course I think the most significant change, besides the backdrop, the death, the grief, all of that, is he does not become a real boy. He stays wooden.
Yeah.
and that doesn't seem to hinder the story very much. Seeing it the first time, I didn't it didn't occur to me that he didn't become a real boy, because to me he did, and I think that's sort of like the point that Del Toro is trying to make.
I agree. Yeah, that's what I was trying to was gonna jump in and say that. Yeah, I agree. I think that even though he is still wooden and immortal, um, in his own right, he did become real. You know, he understands that time is precious. That you should hold on to, or you should experience these moments, even if they are fleeting. And and death is okay, and it's natural, and and we may lose the ones we love, but that just lets us know that we still love them. And yeah, by the end, yeah, I would say emotionally and thematically, he is a real boy, um, even though he's not physically a real boy. Um, can I say though, I was going to save this for a little bit later, but since we already kind of brought up the ending a little bit, um, I was in fucking tears by the end, dude. I don't know what it was. And it was literally like the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
As soon as like uh, Sebastian is going through, Geppetto's passing, and then he passes, and then Spazzatura passes. Dude, I was fucking hysterically crying. Um, And here's what's even kind of more sad is I couldn't audibly sob because Ashley was asleep. So I was here in the living room, tears just like streaming down my face, just silently like crying because
No,
I
I
didn't
get
want
it.
to wake her up. Um and I don't know what it was, man. Like something it was really I think it was the Spazzatura that got me because he's following Pinocchio and then he just kind of fades. And I was just like, oh, like, and it's literally like the last 5 minutes of the
Yeah,
movie.
no,
And
yeah.
I was just dying, weeping so much.
So I'll maybe I can shed some light, maybe, of why it was
Okay.
so emotional for you because um a few movies do this. One of them we've done on the show is when a character is cursed with I say cursed because being immortal must be terrible. Like um
Yeah.
but cursed with his immortality. And I mean, Sebastian sort of alludes to maybe he's not really immortal, that he will die eventually, maybe someday. Um because he doesn't want to wish someone to be immortal on anybody. I mean, again, it's it sounds cool for like 10 minutes and then it's um anyway, so I would say it's similar to Bill's journey at the very end of It's Such a Beautiful Day, where he's traveling through existence, never dying, never changing, yet the world and the universe is, going on around him. And, he's alive to see the last star go out, you know? Um,
Mm-hmm.
like that sort of hits you on a weird level where, you're sort of putting yourself in that situation where it's like, what would that be like to, watch everyone you've ever loved die and then meet new people that you love and then they die and then it's just over and over and over again. A similar film ending would probably be The Green Mile, um, where um, damn it, I don't remember that character's name. Shit. Um, Tom Hanks's character. Anyway, um, he was gifted, I guess, a longer life by John Coffey, and because the woman he's speaking to and telling the story to at the retirement home is confused by his math because he's a full grown 40-year-old man um, during the Great Depression, and then it's 1999 or whatever, and she's like, that doesn't make any sense, and he has to explain to her, well, I'm living this very long life, and it's because of John Coffey, and it's because of that. And then he talks about how the mouse is still alive, and if the mouse is still alive, how long does he have? and he talks about all the people that he's lost and that he's seen die, and he just keeps living. Um, there's something about that. There's something about, watching everyone you've ever loved die around you, and you just keep going. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that probably had something to do with it, especially with how we say goodbye to Spazzatura, um, because we don't get to see his body. He just fades.
Yeah.
And I think that's what got me, is that now Pinocchio really is alone. Yes, he carries Jiminy, or not Jiminy, Sebastian. I'm gonna have to catch myself. Yes, he carries Sebastian with him in his heart, but he doesn't have. I mean, and I guess that's maybe the point that Guillermo was also going for, is that like that the ones you love never really leave you, which is, I feel like a lesson, or not a lesson, or a message that a lot of films about tackling death, I think, try to teach you that like they're not always gone. Um, but fuck, dude, God, like I was great whole movie, and then that fucking happens, and I'm just like bawling.
It was a cool transition where he's walking with Spazzatura, and then Spazzatura fades, and then he ends up at Spazzatura's grave. Like,
Yeah.
it's a cool transition. I see what you're saying. By the way, so I think the most incredible sort of tidbit, piece of trivia, fun fact about this movie is not that it's the longest stop motion film to date, right? It's not, um, the incredible the incredible model work. The detail is so incredible. It's not,
Mm-hmm.
the type of stories they're telling. It's not, you know all the stuff Guillermo del Toro had to go through during production. None of that. The most incredible piece of trivia is that Kate Blanchett plays Spazzatura. Okay?
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it one more time. Kate Blanchett plays that little monkey with no lines.
Uh,
Unbelievable.
does she not voice, like, when Spazzatura is controlling the puppets? Does she not do the voices there?
No, I don't know. Um, she's making the noises. Like, it's it's amazing. It's like the power of just the love and respect of the story, and the love and respect she has for Del Toro.
Yeah.
That she'll just do anything. Um,
Yeah.
it's
Because
amazing.
they'd already done Nightmare Alley by this point, right?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe. Um,
Yes, actually, they had. Because I was on Guillermo's IMDb earlier today, and it said this and Frankenstein were his most recent films.
I'm excited for Frankenstein. Um,
Can't
I'm
fucking
nervous, but
wait
I'm
for
excited.
Frankenstein.
So
Um,
anyway, I just think that's incredible, and that Kate Blanchett could do anything. I guess
yeah,
that's the moral of that story.
yeah. Well, I mean, this is completely doesn't go with what we're talking about. I mean, but kind of. It's also about a kids movie, that when she and Jack Black did The House with the Clock in Its Walls, Jack was just raving about her and about how funny she was, and how he was a little worried that maybe he couldn't be his full self, because I mean, it's Kate
Right.
Blanchett, like like it's Kate Blanchett, and apparently she was just super chill and funny, and yeah, so she can do it all.
I agree. Kate Blanchett can do anything. She is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, when I was looking up the cast and I saw her, I was like, oh my god, who does she play? And then I saw Spazzatura, and I was just like, but he doesn't talk.
the monkey? Yeah. It's
The monk.
crazy.
Well, and so, like, and I was expecting him to like talk at some point, to like speak to Pinocchio because, yes, there is a lot of realism in the film, but I'm like, but there's also a talking cricket. So I'm sure the monkey's going to talk eventually, right? No, Spazzatura never talks.
No,
Um,
again, it's incredible. I love that, um, I just love that, an Academy Award. I don't know if she's an Academy Award winner. Definitely an Academy Award nominated, actors playing Spazzatura,
yeah.
Um,
Well, and speaking of the voice cast, I do want to rave about the voice cast. I mean, again, you had Ron Perlman as the Gestapo guy, Finn Wolfhard playing his son, um, Christoph Waltz as Volpe, um, fucking David Bradley as um, um, Geppetto,
mhm.
and then there was someone else that I saw that I was like, oh shit. But he only has like 2 lines in the whole
So one
movie.
of my favorite actors, that I will see anything he's in probably, is Tim Blake Nelson, and he's
Yeah,
and he's the
the
Black
black.
Rabbits. Uh,
Oh yeah, and Tilda Swinton as the wood sprite and deaf.
Tilda Swinton, man, incredible. She's also someone who can just do anything.
Yeah, um, the voice cast is so great, and I feel like he casted a lot of very. I use this term not to be negative, and maybe you might agree, or maybe not, but a lot of unconventional uh, actors for the film. Like David Bradley and Ron Perlman
Well,
and
him
Tim
and
Blake
Ron Perlman, I mean,
Nelson.
he'll do anything,
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah.
like
As soon as his name comes up on his phone, Ron's like, I'm in.
yeah, I
And
mean, Ron, it's
Guillermo,
yeah, they'll do anything
Guillermo's
together.
like,
They're great.
yeah, and Guillermo's like, well, Ron, you haven't even heard what I have to say, and he's like, I'm in.
Well, and it's
You're
interesting
gonna be playing a mushroom.
because like the characters, so because you have someone like Christoph Waltz playing Volpe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Volpe's very over the top and cartoonish, I think.
Which means Fox, by the way.
That's good. I didn't know that. Um, because he is sort of the character is sort of a combination between the fox and that other guy.
The
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 right,
the the the, the carnival guy.
right.
Yeah.
Um, whatever his fucking name was, but yeah, he's sort of over the top. But then you have Candlewick.
The coatsman.
But
Because he
I got it.
anyway. Yeah.
But then you have Candlewick, who is very realistic, very reserved, um, much more menacing, I think, because he's like you said, this Gestapo type, um, head fascist character, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I also appreciated um, his son, Little Candlewick. I don't know if he has a first name. Um,
I know they just call him Candlewick.
so I like that we're seeing these representations of fathers and sons, both with Pinocchio and Geppetto, but then with the Candlewicks, because before Pinocchio, he is just blindly following whatever his father does because he's so desperate for his approval, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is sort of mimicking sort of the fascist ideologies of that time, right? It's how his father feels about Mussolini, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I like that we see this change. We don't ever get to see the outcome of this change.
Yeah.
It's sort of like if you were to remove the scenes of Pinocchio in the training camp, the story doesn't change that much, Um,
Yeah,
I mean, obviously it's to replace like Pleasure Island, and it's supposed to replace um these moments in the original story, and makes sense within the confines of the story. Um, it's just, it's a little odd.
I am gonna say I didn't catch it until you just said it. I was like, oh yeah, we don't get sort of an update on
No,
Candlewick after the training school is bombed.
yeah,
I would hope that he goes back to the village and tells his mom what happened and lives a normal childhood. I would hope.
maybe we'll see.
It, yeah. Um, but yeah, you're right because the only thing story wise that that sequence serves in particular is, I guess, to help Candlewick kind of rediscover his humanity a little bit.
Well, his individuality, I
Um,
think that he just
hmm
he defines himself by his father's approval,
hmm
um, that he'll never get.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously, it's to help the overall message of the movie, right? Which is,
hmm
it's this obedience to authority isn't, all it's cracked up to be. Um, but yeah, other than that, I think it's sort of like, you know, whatever. The animation,
Yeah.
of course, is stellar and it's incredible and it's, wondrous to look at. When you think about it, Del Toro is literally bringing puppets to life by doing stop motion, and I think that's why he never wavered with stop motion. Like there was moments in pre-production where they're like, "Hey, you can do 2D animation and it's fine," and he said, "Absolutely not. Like we'll find a way to continue to do stop motion because it's sort of like it's meta. We're literally bringing these inanimate objects to life with stop motion animation."
hmm Yeah. And that's something I really appreciate, and something I also really appreciate is learning. And I feel like each time we do a stop motion film on the show, I learn something new about, stop motion. Um, like with Anomalisa and how they did that, and um, Mad God and things like that. But learning like that there's now this new puppet for stop motion where the mechanism, they just put essentially skin over the mechanism and then they can mimic it, just by moving it instead of having to replace everything.
Interesting.
Insane. Well, Pinocchio, the actual model for Pinocchio, they do have to replace his head
Oh,
each time for each mouth movement because they said that his grain can't change.
that
So
makes
it
sense.
needs to stay the same. So they have to, but with all the human characters, essentially, yeah, there's mechanisms in the face that they can manipulate and move like the eyebrow certain ways. And I
Oh,
was like, that's insane,
that's
dude.
cool.
And it makes it easier instead of having to, replace the mouths or eyes or something like that. Um, and then they said that Pinocchio himself is the first fully 3D printed
Oh,
puppet,
interesting.
because I guess because since how they have had to manipulate him, it had to be very specific.
Mhm.
Unlike with all the human characters, where they could have the armature inside of them to manipulate. I guess they couldn't really do that with Pinocchio because, again, he can't change really.
It's one
You
of
know.
one of the decisions that I really liked with this version of Pinocchio is that he's so crudely made
Mm-hmm.
and he's not wearing clothes because why would he wear clothes? Um, because he's just wood, right? Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I just liked that he never Geppetto never finished him, because he was so drunk when he made him. That
Mm-hmm.
he's got nails sticking out of his back, his head's not finished. It's all um, it's insane the back of his head. Um, and I
He's
liked
only got one ear.
and I liked the nose growing. Um, was sort of
Hmm.
sporadic, and it wasn't like, it didn't just get longer. Like it grew
Right.
branches.
Yeah. Yeah. Which, is not only such a great stylistic choice, but also it plays for the movie when they escape the sea monster.
Right.
That he literally grows an entire tree
Yeah.
so they can cross. Um, yeah, man. This kind of goes back to, I think, my love of Guillermo and his his way of storytelling, not only in the terms of story itself, but of the visual language that we're seeing. Um, and it's so refreshing that even the animators were like, we need to make sure this feels like a Guillermo del Toro movie. That it's not just a stop motion film with his name on it. Like, no, it needs to feel like one of his live action films. Um, and in my opinion, it absolutely does.
I'm always mesmerized by the cinematography for stop motion, because this one had really great cinematography, and the
Oh,
lighting
100%.
was incredible. And um, I know for Anomaly, I didn't watch the behind the scenes like you did, but I know for Anomalisa, we talked about it, that they just built mini light rigs. Like they just built like a mini uh, film set, basically. You know, because if it
Uh-huh.
works on a grand big scale, it will work on a smaller scale. The light is the same either way, so they just built little bitty, or not little bitty, but you know what I mean, like smaller
Yeah.
light rigs, and like it was awesome. I wouldn't have imagined that's how it worked, at least for them. So I don't really know how they did it for Pinocchio, but um,
As far as I could tell, it's kind of how most stop motion films are made. You know, sound stages. They built the set. Um, the set is big, like when they were talking about the church. Like, it was tall enough for one of the animators to actually stand up perfectly in and like walk through and
oh, okay.
all right, we need to fix this and fix that. Um, but the roof is like right at his head. Um, so as far as I could tell, like, yeah, that's how they did it. They had a sound stage with these different sets that they animators can go in and animate the film essentially. Um, that would have been really cool if they did it kind of like Anomalisa, I feel like, but I don't know if it would have had the same feel. Um, what I also really loved is seeing how they manipulate the puppet in certain shots,
Mhm.
having an arm that's green screen covered essentially, that way they can go in and digitally scrub it out.
Interesting.
Um, is so cool.
Yeah.
Like, because I've always wondered about that, like especially as stop motion, especially for this film in 2022, has gotten so seamless. Essentially,
Mhm.
it was really cool to see like how they did that. You know, excuse me.
Can I tell you the the part in Pinocchio in every iteration that I don't like, that I think
Okay.
drags the story, and I'm probably wrong. I think that it sort of comes out of nowhere, is the sea monster, is the whale. To me, I'm like, what is going on? You know?
Yeah.
It's just so bizarre. Like I don't get it. You know?
Yeah.
My own
Yeah.
personal
And
opinion, my fault. I'm sure I'm wrong, but you know, if Zach can tell me, that'd be great.
he's going to.
Yeah,
Um, and I think that's why for this movie it was really refreshing that it was more of a sea monster than a
sure.
whale, and them like trying to explain more, like, oh, he only comes up for sun every 10 years, kind of thing. For me personally, it's just something I don't understand. Like, why a whale? Why? Like, I guess really to give Pinocchio, at least for this version, a life or death scenario
Sure.
for someone that's not him. Because as Death tells him, if you go back too early, you'll be mortal. Sure, you may save Geppetto, but you will die.
Yeah.
And I guess is also to help Pinocchio understand that, again, for this version, that, you know, um, what's the good of an immortal life if you don't have those, at least right now, like alive with you, that, or you could have an opportunity to save them,
Yeah,
I guess.
I just don't. I don't know, man. Um, it's always baffled me, and I'm like, is it supposed to be biblical? Is it supposed to be like a Jonah and the whale sort of situation? Like, I don't get it. I don't understand it. Um, it just comes out of nowhere. Um, and I don't know. I don't get it. It's not for me. You know. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, this movie is fantastic, and I loved it, and whatever. But it's just this part of the story I don't understand. You know.
So this is somewhat related, but also sort of strange. Um, so as I told you off mic, I finally am taking a break from Baldur's Gate. I've been kind of going a little too hard on that game. It did 3 different playthroughs. It's time to take a break. And so I'm just kind of going through and replaying or finishing games that I've started, just haven't completed. And one of them was Kingdom Hearts, which is Final Fantasy meets Disney. And one of the levels you can travel to is the whale from Pinocchio.
Interesting.
Like, you can just go inside the whale.
Hmm.
Um, but like, you rescue Geppetto and Pinocchio, and so like when you go to one of the other worlds, they're there.
Hmm.
But like, so something about something about the whale sea monster that I'm sure is from the original fairy tale that probably would make sense if we were to read it.
Oh, I doubt it.
Oh yeah, I'm sure actually that would probably be the one thing. You know what, here, let's do a quick
I doubt it
Google
because
search.
like the original by Carlo whatever his name is um Carlo Geppetto's son is named after the original author of the book. Um yeah, it's super bizarre the original story. Um Pinocchio starts out as a sentient log um that is later
Hmm.
made into a puppet, which is weird. Um anyway, what do you think?
So, the whale signifies the destructive force of the abyss, representing both a physical and spiritual danger.
Hmm.
It is a symbolic representation of the dangers from straying from the right path, mirroring the story of Jonah and the great fish. Geppetto's encounter with the whale symbolizes his overwhelming grief, while Pinocchio's journey into its belly represents his eventual selfless love, and his efforts to save his father from despair.
I see. Okay. Well, I'll take it.
I'm ashamed to admit it. That answer came from Google's AI.
Ah,
I don't like that when you Google things now,
it just comes up with
AI
the AI thing. I
immediately.
know. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Sometimes it's helpful. Other times I'm like, no, man, let me let me comb through Google, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, um yeah. But no, I do see what you're saying about the whale, because that, even seeing the original Disney Pinocchio, I was just like, I don't, why? And again, for this version, Guillermo, I feel like he tries to give it a better story, as where that almost like this fish has always been there, kind of thing. um and just like that, that the war has kind of woken it up. I don't know.
Maybe I don't know. Couldn't tell you. I mean, I hate to say it, but that the AI, answer does kind of make sense in a weird way. But um, I
Well,
don't
and
I
it
don't hate the
pulls. It
explanation.
probably pulls from
Yeah,
articles and stuff like
yeah, I
that,
don't
and
hate the
just puts it
explanation.
in.
I'll take it. Makes sense, especially with Del Toro's version of grief and loss. I get it.
Mhm.
Um, and before we wrap up, here's a oops, I forgot.
Oh, okay.
He included the town's sort of fear and disgust of Pinocchio, which I appreciated because, of course, right? You tell me this wood kid is alive. What are you talking about? Like that's so scary. Like get that thing away from me. That's insane. You know. Um,
Yeah.
so good. But
Uh,
of course, they're more afraid of him because he's different. It's sort of like an
yeah.
overall fascist thing. But um, either way, I
Yeah.
like that addition to the story.
That there was actually a realistic reaction to seeing a live wooden puppet
Yeah,
speak.
yeah, it's absolutely
Um,
insane.
uh, that's so funny. Yeah, man. So I guess you're ready for the wrap up.
I mean, I'm
The
out of
wrap up. Wrap
stuff.
up. Wrap up.
So yeah,
Yeah, I mean, the movie's great. I I'm very ashamed that it took me so long to finally finish it. Um, Again, it was worth it. Got a good got a good cry out of it.
yeah,
And I've been told Ashley that when I got home, I was like, yeah, I'm really surprised it didn't wake you up because I was trying really hard not to audibly sob, and accidentally wake her up. And when I told her what happened, she was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." I was like, "No, I'm sorry. I didn't want to wake you up, because I had to be at work later than you did, so I didn't want to wake you up." Um, but it's great. The movie's fantastic. Um, Again, I'm so glad Criterion released it.
yeah.
Um, I think it would have been a real travesty if they didn't. Um, I wonder if they'll do Crimson Peak. They'll give me an excuse to buy that movie, and Ashley hates that movie.
I haven't seen it. I don't know.
She
Good. I can't speak to that.
she she doesn't like the implied incest
I
subplot.
see.
Yeah. Tom Hiddleston and Jessica Chastain, or Dallas Bryce Howard,
It's Jessica Chastain.
or okay, I was right the first time. Apparently, they're brother sister, and they may or may not do the deed on the down low.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Well, that being said, buddy, off mic, you said you think you know what we're doing next week.
Yeah.
Do you know now?
Yeah.
Cool.
So next week we're switching gears a little bit,
Okay.
which is fine. And next week we are discussing the supernatural, psychological crime thriller mystery from 1997. It's Kiyoshi Kurosawa's Cure.
Let's fucking
Yeah.
go.
This movie is rad. I love Cure. So yeah.
I bought this from, I think, not Hastings, on a whim. It had made its way onto my wish list. They had it, brand new copy. I was like, you know what? I'll give this one a shot. And then, almost very supernaturally, the next day, I was scrolling through Instagram, and one of those film Instagram pages came up,
Sure.
and they had a sequence from this movie, and like the whole thing was like appreciating how less is more, especially for this movie.
Yeah.
And it's the scene where you think someone's gonna come over the top of like a couch. And dude, I was like, no, because it was truly terrifying. I was like, nope. And I was in bed. I was like, nope, No. Move on. I need some memes. And the movie's just very, very fascinating to me, just because I don't think it was on anyone's Criterion Closet episode, because that's where I get a lot of these recommendations from. And I was just like, yeah, sure, why not? And I've been very excited to watch it.
Dude,
So
it's awesome. Yeah, it's great.
you know what? This will help with my next pick after this,
Sure.
with After Cure, because a little inside baseball, everyone. I know what we're going to talk about after Cure, and I've seen it, which kind of breaks my rule. But you're doing this, which helps my rule because I have it,
Right.
and I've never seen it. So, it sort of like negates it.
Happy to help.
Essentially. Cool. Cool, man. I'm gonna try to see if Ashley will watch it with me, since it's kind of scaly.
A little scaly.
But she'll probably say no as soon as I tell her it's in Japanese.
Right. It is in Japanese. That's great.
Yeah, she'll probably be like, no. All right, everyone. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode on Pinocchio, and we will see you next week for Cure.